All right, so how do you know when it's time? It's a good question because RV life and travel is an amazing lifestyle. And many people actually end up selling it all to go full time. But there will come a day when it is time to settle back down and trade a life on the road for something just different. Deciding when it's time to quit RV life is obviously a personal decision, but there are several common signs that might indicate that it is time to move from full-time RVing. And in this video, we're gonna give you some of what those signs are. And if these are signs that you're seeing, well, it might just be time to quit RV life and opt for something different. And I kind of think that the last sign is probably really like the most telling. So if you resonate when I share that one, well, it might just be time to throw in the towel on full-time RV living. So the first sign is really just that constant movement starts to feel more physically and mentally fatiguing versus feeling exciting and new. When we first started RVing, we moved around every 4 to 7 days because we had a ton on our list that we wanted to see and do around the country, including a goal of visiting all of the lower 48 states in our RV. But over time, the excitement of traveling can fade and that constant moving becomes more draining rather than invigorating. And so if that resonates with you, it might be a sign that it's time to stop traveling and just maybe give it a trial run of staying in one spot for a while. The one good thing about an RV is it does have wheels. So if you get stir crazy after a few months, you can always pick up and start traveling again. You'll have to let us know in the comments if you've ever felt that way. Now, the second sign can just be health concerns. Now, we've seen this quite a bit. And as people age or just face health challenges, living in an RV can be physically demanding. Now, like a great example is the roof on the first RV that we purchased was very poorly maintained and it was in horrible shape because the previous owner was just not in the physical condition to be able to get up on the roof and maintain it. So things like keeping up with maintenance, driving, hitching up, daily tasks like dumping tanks just could become too much and too tiring. And if this is the case, it just might be a sign that it's time to give up on full-time RV life. Now, sign number 3 is just the financial stress of the costs associated with RV life. No, full-time RV living isn't always cheaper. If you're spending too much on fuel, campground fees, repairs, upgrades, and it becomes a financial burden, settling down could save money. RVs definitely can almost be like a project car with mods and upgrades and repairs, and there's just always something that you can do and add that's super fun. And we have a lot of fun with RV DIY projects ourselves, but if they're becoming a financial burden, well, that's a whole nother story. Now, another component to the financial challenges that can come with RV living is income on the road. And if you're relying solely on a mobile job or freelance work, changes in income or financial security can definitely make RV life harder to sustain. And not everyone has the option for remote work. In fact, many companies who allowed their employees to work remotely during COVID are now requiring workers to come back to an office environment. So being able to work from the road isn't as feasible for some as it once was during the pandemic. Now, before we get to some of the other signs that it just might be time to come off of the road, I do want to just let you know real quick, we're not done with RV and travel. We've slowed down our travel pace a little bit, and some of the reasons why I'm going to share about in just a few minutes, plus the most telling sign that I told you about, that it might be time to quit RV life. But first, while RV life isn't for everyone, and we've just talked about some of the challenges people face on the road, one thing that can make your journey definitely more enjoyable is knowing where to go next. And that is why I love the RV Destinations magazine, which is also the sponsor of this video. Because this magazine provides some great inspiration and ideas of where to travel with your RV. And now that we've been to each of the 48 states, I'm finding that in each issue of RV Destinations, there are some amazing places across the US and Canada that we've not yet visited. And each issue has a variety of featured places. So whether your travel plans are East Coast, West Coast, Southwest, the Midwest, you can find a spot that you're gonna want to add to your travel plans in each issue of RV Destinations. The Summer Journal edition, which we recently received, I learned about an amazing culinary adventure, like food tour article that makes me wanna put Port Aransas, Texas on our list of places to visit. There's also things like national parks, overnight stops like Harvest Host locations, locations that are super unique, private campgrounds, and more. And I really love the inspiration that I'm finding to travel more. The RV Destinations magazine offers some great campground reviews, Q&As, and helpful tips in knowing where to find those must-see hidden gems, places, and restaurants. The best part is you can enjoy RV Destinations magazine in both digital and print, because I like old school things, I like to have that print copy of a book or a magazine, especially if I'm like hanging by the pool or the beach. And Ben likes using his iPad or e-reader for books and magazines. So we can each enjoy RV Destinations in the format we like. And since RV Destinations is written by RVers for RVers, it definitely provides the best tips, recommendations, and insights for those of us out there living this RV lifestyle. For a limited time, you could save 20% off of your subscription at gratefulglamper.com/RV Destinations. We'll have that link below. Just use the code GRATEFUL20 at checkout. And a huge thanks to RV Destinations for their support and sponsoring this video. Now, the next sign that it just might be time to call it quits is a desire for stability and community. Now, one of the biggest challenges of RV life is just really that lack of consistent community. And now, while we have been able to connect with many other travel families, and we've actually made lifelong friendships because of this travel lifestyle, it's just not always feasible to have a consistent community around like when you are stationary. Things like having long-term neighbors and friends or being part of local events are just not always possible when living life on the road. I know one thing I really started to miss a few years into this travel life was just weekly groups at church, like a women's Bible study or a mom's group. I mean, for me, there's just something really bucket filling about being in community with the same group week after week. Now, on the stability side of that coin, for some people, and now this is why we've slowed our travel pace a little bit, is because for one of our kids especially, the need for consistent routine. For some people, the spontaneity of life on the road feels just less appealing, and not always knowing where you're gonna be next or where things are located. Like even just things like knowing where the closest grocery store, fuel station, or hospitals are located can create more anxiety than it does peace. And for one of our kiddos, they really started to struggle with life on the road after a while, just for that need of more constant stability in life. Now, the fifth sign is just logistical challenges like the constant upkeep and repairs that do and will come with the RV lifestyle. If the stress of maintaining and the expense of maintaining and repairs the vehicle and your RV outweigh the enjoyment of living on the road, that could be a sign it's time to just slow down, maybe even come off the road. I know sometimes when we're traveling, both Ben and I felt like every single trip, something goes wrong and something breaks. And this isn't exclusive to older RVs. I mean, in fact, we've seen sometimes more problems with newer RVs as far as breakdowns and repairs. I mean, it's just an RV thing, okay? Someone once told us when we got our very first RV to just be prepared that we are going to be either one, polishing it, or two, fixing it, or polishing it or fixing it, or polishing it or fixing it, and they were pretty much correct on that. Another logistical challenge can be technology and connectivity, just staying connected while traveling. That can be difficult. And that's why we personally installed really what we're calling the ultimate internet setup in our RV. And if you're not sure what we're referring to or curious about what that setup is, I'll put a link in the description below for the video where we did that setup and install. But some people just find connectivity to be too challenging, especially for those that really depend on it for work. And for some, that's a reason that they decide to come off of the road. Now, the next sign of when it might be time to quit full-time RV life is when family or personal needs shift. Now, life is going to change, and some of those changes, like wanting to be closer to family, grandchildren, or needing to help loved ones, can draw you back to more of a stationary lifestyle. In our case, things like our two teenagers that want a more traditional high school experience and the opportunity to play team sports. I mean, there are some things you just can't do from the road, and that means sometimes you have new priorities. And the priority that we had several years ago, not necessarily the priority we have today. I mean, we did have a priority to explore and grow closer together as a family, and we feel like that was accomplished, and then those priorities might shift. I mean, you might find yourself wanting to develop new hobbies or interests or goals, and some of those things are hard to pursue when you're on the road. I mean, like having a big garden, or like in the case of our kids, being able to play team sports, or just being more involved in community and community projects. Now, this is probably the most telling of all, and that is just the feeling of being done. Maybe you've seen all the places on your list, you've had the adventures you wanted to have, and that sense of exploration has maybe lessened a little bit. Maybe if your wanderlust is satisfied, or maybe it's just time to transition out of RV life and into something different. I know for us, we have so much more that we want to go and do and see. And while RV life is a huge part of that, we've also realized that we can actually enjoy some other forms of travel as well. In fact, we have an opportunity for all of you who want to travel with us next year in 2025 to come along for the ride. And we're going to have more on that in the coming months. So make sure that you are subscribed to this channel and that you stay updated. Also, sign up for our email list on our website if you haven't done so to stay updated. Needless to say, when you start to feel maybe a little boredom or restlessness kick in, that's when being on the road starts feeling more like a chore than an adventure. Well, that could just be a sign that you're ready for a change. Deciding to quit RV life doesn't mean that you failed. It's about recognizing priorities, lifestyle, and that needs have changed, and embracing a new chapter of life, whether you transition back to a home base, become a weekender, or like we like to call ourselves anytimers, because really we just RV anytime and anywhere we want. Or maybe it's time for a new adventure like boat life or international travel. There's so many adventures to be had, and it's important to listen to your instincts and adjust as life and needs evolve. In fact, there's a ton of other YouTube RVers who have come off the road in recent years as well, and you can find out more about who else has come off of the road right up here.